A lot of Nigerians are actually poor. They are perpetually poor, and apart from being poor, a lot of them are also very broke. You see, in our contemporary time, unfortunately, the gap between the rich and the poor is actually expanding, or rather elongating every time. And we cannot be able to actually decipher what is actually responsible for this scenario. Of course, most of us already know that there is a high level of inflationary trend in the country. The country is experiencing the highest level of inflation right from the inception or the creation of the Nigerian state. Presently in Nigeria, inflation stands at 33 point something percent. And a lot of people are finding it very difficult to survive in this economic ulubalo. So the gap between the rich and the poor is actually expanding. And unfortunately, in this economic dispensation, the middle class is actually diminishing from the picture. And now what we have is that you are either poor or you are either rich. It is very easy to actually distinguish between somebody that's actually poor in Nigeria and someone that is actually rich in the Nigeria, because the middle class, which is actually the top class in social stratification, is diminishing gradually, is disappearing gradually. And that is why this video is very important and is very imperative. It will actually help you to be able to know where the problem is actually coming from, and you'll be able to understand why you are actually poor and the hopoloi, or you're actually complaining every time that you don't have any money. So the economic system is actually rigged. The system is actually, rigged or done in a way that it will actually make a lot of people to be very, very poor. The system is rigged, and because it's actually rigged, it has been rigged to make a lot of people to be very poor. The economic system actually favors those that are financially educated, and that is why for you to survive in this economic system, it is imperative, it is very important, it is obligatory, it is a mandamus that you must have financial education. Without financial education, you might find yourself in a very deep mess. So you need financial education. Nigeria, like other parts of the countries of the world, is actually adopting what we call a free market economic system, or a capitalist economic system, where the means of production, distribution, and exchange are actually controlled by market forces, the forces of demand and supply, and some other factors. That is capitalism for you. And capitalism is actually a free market economy. And apart from that, it creates alternatives. Consumers have alternative, you can consume or buy whatever you like, labor is actually a marketable commodity. There is use of advanced technology or sophistication in carrying out a productive process, and so many other things like that are coupled together to make up what we call capitalism. So you need to understand that Nigeria is actually operating what we call capitalism. Then from there, you'll be able to understand the dynamics of the system, how money actually operates in this system. You see, in Nigeria, household spending or individual spending is very, very poor. Is very, very poor. I'll have to be sincere with you. And the reason for this is because the poor, they earn and spend their money immediately. They earn the money and spend the money immediately. And because they earn and spend the money immediately, there is no room for savings, there is no room for investment. There's no room for savings, and there's also no room for investment. So we are actually in a situation where people are actually consuming and they are not producing. They are not producing, because in a capitalist economic system, you have two classes. You have the consumers and you have the producers. So in this economic system, those that actually make money or actually make profit at the end of the day are actually the producers, not the consumers. So most people, or people that belong to the category of the poor, are actually, consumers, not producers. And apart from that, you don't necessarily need to be poor for you to be rich. You can still be poor and be rich if you take some certain steps, if you take some stringent steps, if you take some urgent steps. You will discover that after some years, you can actually catapult yourself to the category of the rich. And that is consistency. You have to be consistent. You have to be determined. You have to make up your mind that you're going to make money. You're going to survive in this economic trend or this economic situation. So the poor doesn't have any room for savings, and there is no room for investment, because they earn the money and they also spend the money. In this economic system, we have banks that will always encourage you, motivate you, make plans that you should always collect what we call the loans. They will give you some credit facilities. They will give you, buy now, pay later, easy buy, and the rest of them, loans and credit cards and the rest of them. So the hallmark or the purpose of this is to make you to be perpetually poor, or to actually live in debt. So banks actually make profit when people live in debt, or they are actually living in debt. So banks actually make money. You see, corporations and companies that are into productive process also make money when you buy their product. Can you see there's something there? They make money when you buy their product. So you are a consumer, you buy their product, they make money. Do you see something there? So banks make money. Also, the corporations or the companies that are engaged in productive process and distributive process also make money when you buy their product. So if you are actually a consumer in a capitalist economy and you are not investing, or you are not saving for the future, for emergency, it will be very difficult for you to find yourself in a wealthy position. That is the reality, because becoming wealthy is actually a decade of sacrifice. It is actually involves consistency, hard work, honesty, being decisive with yourself, and making a pragmatic approach towards making or creating wealth for yourself. In this capitalist economic system too, the government actually makes profit when you are also an employee. Can you see something there? Because when you're actually an employee, you are actually paying more tax, or you pay more tax at the end of the month when your salary is actually paid to you. So the system, that's why I say the system is actually rigged to favor only the investors and the entrepreneurs. So if you are an employee in a capitalist economic system, the banks are there to milk you out, the corporations or the companies are there to milk you out, and the government is also there to milk you out as well, because you pay tax in this system. So even the tax system that you are actually paying tax to, do you know that investors pay lesser tax while employees pay bigger tax at the end of the day? You can find out by yourself. You see, so investors actually pay lower taxes. In my last lecture, I made a reference to the CEO of Coca-Cola that was earning $80 million at the end of every financial year, and Warren Buffett that was making $700 million as an investor in Coca-Cola. He was making $700 million as an investor in Coca-Cola, and he was making $700 million. At the end of the day, the CEO was paying $37 million as a tax, while the Warren Buffett that was making $700 million was paying only $20 million. That shows you that investors actually pay lesser tax compared to employee. So employee pay more tax than the investors. That is another point there. So you profit or you make money when you are actually financially educated. And that's why financial education is very important and you must strive to get it. And how do you get this financial education? You can read more books on entrepreneurship, on wealth creation. You can also watch videos like this on the internet, like on YouTube. You can also go for symposium or attend classes online and so many other things, because your school will not teach you how to make wealth. They only teach you fundamentals and principles about one particular theory or the other, but they will not teach you how to make money. So you can make money when you are actually financially educated. I could remember those years that I was not financially educated. I was engaged in buying liabilities as opposed to assets. But immediately I was able to garner enough financial education, my eyes became open and I started investing money, and I'm making money today. So when you are in debt, it means you are what? You are financing liabilities. You see, like a lot of people are actually in debt. And if you ask them, what kind of a debt are you in? They will tell you. A lot of people are actually in debt because they go on vacations, they own expensive cars, they go to nightclubs, they go to parties, they buy actually expensive things. And when you do all these things, they will actually create a hole in your pocket. So your home too can actually be a money pit when it is not actually generating any profit. I'm not saying it's not good to have a house. Like I have my own personal, this is my house, but it becomes a liability when that home is not generating any money for you and you are spending a lot of money to upgrade that home to look like a small heaven. That is where a lot of us are actually making a mistake, because when you talk about homes, you can spend 20 billion naira or dollars into that home and the home will still swallow it, and you still end up spending more money at the end of the day. So maintaining a home is an everlasting thing because it will always wear and tear at the end of the day. So just do the minimum you can actually do and invest more at the end of the day. That's what we're actually talking about here. So the wealth of the rich people, the rich class, the wealthy class, those that you see that are actually wealthy in society today, is as a result of investment in assets and not liabilities. So if you are actually investing more of your money on liabilities, it means you are creating what I call a money pit, or creating what I call a hole in your pocket, as against creating investment for yourself. So liabilities will actually create a hole in your pocket, but when you invest on assets, you will create more wealth, more money for yourself at the end of the day. So the economic system is actually designed to make a lot of people to be poor. Don't forget that. So you can actually be dumb with your money, or you can actually be smart with your money. The decision is actually yours. Do you want to be smart with your money, or you want to be dumb with your money? Being smart with your money entails that you must understand that money is actually a tool. You must be able to understand financial education. You must be able to understand how money actually works, and you must also be able to understand the dynamics of money. We are now in an era where we have the freedom, we have the independence, we have the no restriction if we want to be financially stupid. So we have the freedom to be financially stupid. That is when you are reckless with your money, when you are extravagant with your money, when you are creating holes in your pocket, when you are creating more liabilities for yourself, engaging in credit cards, borrowing loans, not for profitable ventures, but for extravagant spending, like living a fake life, because that is what the society entails today. You see a lot of people riding cars, living in flamboyant houses, traveling on vacations and the rest of them. But by the time you find out what's actually financing all these things, you discover that most of them are actually living on credit cards. They're living in what? In their debt. So we are now in an era where you can be financially stupid at the end of the day. So we have the opportunity now to be qualified for a lot of debt like credit cards, buy now, pay later, easy buy and loans. We are now in an era where we have the opportunity, things are now so easier for us to actually acquire all these debt at the end of the day without any form of tangible restrictions, because the banks are there to make more money. So they will encourage you to come and take the money. They will motivate you to come and take the money. But at the end of the day, you are going to be living in the debt. So you pay debt, you pay interest when you collect the credit cards, when you collect the loans, when you collect buy now, pay later, and easy buy. I'm not saying loan is not actually good. If you have a business that you want to do, you can actually take a loan, because sometimes too I go for loan. But loan are meant for business, not for extravagancy or for leisure. So if you're actually in that category of people that are actually taking loan for leisure, it is time to pay up all your debt and start investing today. Because when you take that credit card, when you take that easy buy and buy now and pay later and the loans and the rest of them, you are actually making some people to be rich, and that is the way capitalism has actually been conditioned. So you have the opportunity to win when you understand the rules of money. The opportunities are bound for you to actually win, to be victorious, to come out in flying colors when you actually understand the rules of money. Because money has rules and regulation. And unfortunately also, a lot of people don't understand the rules of money. Unfortunately also, the school will not teach you about the rules of money. And that is why today, the quickest means to wealth creation is through investment and entrepreneurship. Through investment and entrepreneurship. This video is actually also meant for those that are actually employee like me. Also, I'm actually an employee. But when I earn my salary at the end of the month, what I usually do is to split my money into 3 parts, which is savings, investment, and spending. My savings is actually for emergency. My investment is actually untouchable. And my spending is actually the money I used to sustain myself till the end of the month. Do you get it now? But unfortunately, the economy is very, very hard. The economy is very, very harsh. The economy is not smiling. So you might find yourself that you might not be able to save money at the end of the day. You might not be able to even talk about investing at the end of the day. But that is why we are saying that you need to discipline yourself. You need to have what we call a budget, where you actually, write down how you intend to actually spend your money in a month. So the school will not teach you all these things, but you can actually get all these things through financial education. So to actually win in this economic system, you must learn the dynamics of money. A lot of us actually, you blame others for our shortcomings, for our failures, and for our, disappointment, for our depression and the rest of them. You don't need to blame anybody for your failures. You see, the ball is actually in your court. If you want to be successful, if you want to make it in life, decision is actually yours to decide. So you don't need to blame people. All you need to do is to take the bull by the horn and decide that you're going to make it, and tell yourself you're going to be wealthy. In other words, you must change your mindset. Creating wealth starts with the mindset. You need to change your mindset to a positive mindset and tell yourself that you're going to be wealthy, and work towards actualizing that goal at the end of the day. And that entails discipline as well, consistency, determination, pragmatism, at the end of the day, so that at the end of it all, you can be able to achieve all these things at the end of the day. So the system is actually, created to benefit investors and not the employee. Though I am an employee, but I have financial education. So once you have a financial education, you are going to leapfrog from that particular point of financial non-entity. Do you get it now? From the level of financial non-entity to the level of financial relevance and financial education. So complaining does not help. Blaming the sun, the moon, and nature and everything for your predicament and your shortcomings will not help you. You need to decide today. So you must build on your financial education. Like I've mentioned earlier, you can read books, you can watch online videos like this, you can do that, even attend programs and symposiums and lectures and seminars on wealth creation. The avenues are all over the place for you to help you to build that dream star which you always aspire at the end of the day. So money can actually work for you when you are not actually working. Money can work for you. Like now, by 12 o'clock, I'm going to be paid another money today for Friday. Then tomorrow, I'm not going to be paid. On Sunday, I'm not going to be paid. By Monday, I'm going to be paid for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, which is triple amount of money. So money can work for you even when you're not working. Every day, money works for me, even when I'm doing my primary job. I am also earning what I call a passive income from my investment. You can do the same thing as well if you are actually assiduous and you are determined today. So you can look for a good investment opportunities that you can actually invest your money on. Like for me, I actually invest my money on money market fund, which is mutual fund, and I get 23.3% interest per annum on my total investment. Do you get it now? So that means that if you actually put like 1 million naira there in a year, you are going to get about 230,000 interest per annum. So the more you put more money, the more your interest will increase. Do you get it now? So that's why we call it a decade of what? Of a sacrifice, where you need to consistently put money there every month for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. At the end of the day, those things that you are not able to get when you're actually, sacrificing and doing all those things, when the time comes, you can actually get those things and live a fulfilled life for yourself and for your children and for your children's children, which can become what I call a generational legacy, generational wealth. You can build that generational wealth. So you must make sacrifices and avoid some certain things that can create a hole in your pockets. So you need to avoid those things and actually create a hole in your pocket, because when there's a hole in your pocket, you might not be able to actually invest your money at the end of the day. So you need to avoid those certain things that actually create a hole in your pocket. Like I've mentioned earlier, going to nightclubs, buying expensive cars, living in expensive apartments, going on vacations and all those things that can actually, create a hole in your pocket. Like for example, if you have a car and that car is actually not, generating any side hustle for you, that is actually a liability. So avoid making other people rich this year. So 2024, avoid making other people to be rich. Make yourself rich, create wealth for yourself and for your children and for your children's children. That is a generational legacy of wealth. Making wealth is actually possible. Becoming rich is actually possible through a decade of sacrifice, through consistency, through determination, being focused, through entrepreneurship activities and investment. If you have actually gained something from this video, please subscribe now. I want to use this medium to say a very big thank you to our returning subscribers, and also please don't forget to share the video and also like and make a comment on how I can serve you better. Till I see you next time, thank you so much and God bless you all. Bye bye.